Alright guys, the time has come to take a look at the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure from the Marvel Legends Deadpool Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. So here we have all the pieces. It does take 6 out of the 7 from the wave to complete the Build-A-Figure. The classic 90s Deadpool figure, that one there, did not come with a Build-A-Figure piece. So, 7 figures in the wave, only 6 to complete the figure. Kind of wish the X-Force Deadpool didn't come with one, but that's the way Hasbro did it. That's okay. So we'll take a look at the figure. Let's piece it together. We'll start with the torso because that's the easiest. We'll pop the head in. Just ports it in. Okay, so earlier when I had talked about that huge range of motion, it's because of the way the design of this torso and back piece is that you're going to have to really get that hinge like so you can really fit the head in there. So that's pretty odd. But what you gonna do, right? So you just pop it in like so. Hear a little click. There's not gonna be a whole lot of range of motion in. Oh, actually, you get some decent if you get him looking straight up and then straight down. So he won't look up at all. Here for the arms, just pop it in place like so. So you can see the arms are very, very long. Get the right arm. Pop it in like so, very small little click. So this figure is coming together nicely. It's actually a decent size, but the legs I think are just what's gonna really bring the figure down because their legs are pretty short. So it just pops into place like so. Pop in like so. And there we have the figure. So you can see he's a little bit taller than I had first expected. So we'll take, there he is. So you can see the arms are very, very long. One thing that I think that really stands out to me right now is one thing that some of these figures, based on the different plastics used for different pieces of figures, you can see here, this upper thigh piece that comes along with the torso is a different shade of orange. And that's because it's a harder plastic versus the softer plastic of the other figures. Lots and lots of figures you'll see will have that differences. The main one that comes to mind is the Age of Ultron Hulk, where you have the torso that's one shade of green and the arms that are another shade of green. That's because of the different types of plastic, so that's really going to affect kind of how that overall look is to it. There he is. Good size. Let's measure him up and see exactly how tall he is. Let's make sure he's standing up straight. So you can see here the figure, gosh, looks like he's about 8.5 inches, which I think is probably going to disappoint quite a few of you guys. Yeah, about 8.5 inches. So my understanding is in the comics, he is about 10 feet, should be the tallest character there is, but this Build-A-Figure definitely is not. Now, one of the things that when the figure was first announced and first shown off, a lot of people thought he was a reuse of the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure, whereas Hasbro had to come out and say, nope, 100% new sculpt. And you can see that it's definitely a new sculpt when we compare him to the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure. So you can see he's actually a little bit taller than Man-Thing, but for the most part, he's around the same size. So the torso is definitely different. Even I had speculated that maybe the torso would be the same since this kind of has that rubber overlay. I was thinking maybe they'd use whatever that torso piece was that's up underneath, but it looks like that's probably not the case. You can see Sasquatch is definitely a little bit taller, and none of the pieces are same. So you have a similar type of look, whereas the fur versus the plant type material, I guess it would be. So the figures definitely are different. So there he is compared to Man-Thing. Another one a lot want to see a comparison to is the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure. So you can see Juggernaut is taller. So I know Sasquatch should be taller than Juggernaut, but the figure definitely is not. You could see Juggernaut has probably 1/2 inch to an inch, depending on how you kind of get it to stand up. So definitely too small of a Build-A-Figure for Sasquatch. Let's go over the articulation. He does not look up. No looking up on Sasquatch. He can look down, but definitely no looking up. That's as far as he'll go. Shoulders, careful with that. They will pop right back off. Can only go up so far, but you do get full rotation. Upper bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow, which only gives you that much range of motion, so not a whole lot on a single joint. Wrist hinge and swivel, of course. Ab crunch goes down that far. Goes back a little bit of ways. Waist rotation. Legs go out pretty far wide. Upper thigh cut. Double jointed elbow, which gives you a decent range of motion there. Ankle doesn't really go down a whole lot due to the sculpted hair there, so not a whole lot of movement down on the ankle. Does go up quite a bit though, and then you do get a little bit of ankle pivot, which again does get hindered by the sculpted fur there. One thing as well, because if you look at the sculpt of it here, the way the hair is, it comes into like a ball type of look. That's going to be tough because the figure is top heavy because these arms are very heavy. He wants to start to lean forward. So you want to be careful with that. You kind of have to lean him back a lot and really get him to balance because he will eventually start to want to move and fall forward. So your arms are probably going to want to be down towards the side because if you get him in a pose for a good length of time, that'll probably really wear down that ankle hinge. Either that or mine could potentially be a little bit loose already. So you definitely want to be careful with that. So there is the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure. So I am very happy with it. I know people are going to be a little upset at the size. I am happy with it. I also am not real familiar with the character himself. I know he is a part of Alpha Flight, a Canadian from Canada, Canadian team. I don't believe he's had very much interaction with Deadpool except maybe one issue. I could be wrong. I think the connection is Canada. That's probably the only connection. But there he is, Sasquatch Build-A-Figure. So when we look at the figures in the wave, if I were to kind of rank them, number one is going to be the classic Deadpool for sure. This is an awesome, awesome looking figure. Definitely the standout. Definitely the best Deadpool figure that we have. So number one, Deadpool. Number two, I'm actually going to go with, they're just falling left and right, Deathlock. Number two. Cable. Number three. Domino. Number four. X-23. There goes Domino. Number five. 6 X-Force Deadpool because it wasn't necessary for me anyway. Number 7 Paladin because I have no connection to the figure. I don't know the character. It's just an okay figure. Definitely ranks last for me. So the Deadpool Marvel Legends wave. Now this wave is starting to hit at Toys R Us. No one else has it. I know pre-orders just went up recently. A lot of people are getting it, so I'm not sure where the sites, when they're going to be shipping. I think some sites like Big Bad Toy Store, Dorkside, we're saying a February release. Entertainment Earth, I believe, is listing an April release. These were street dated at Toys R Us for April 13th. That street date has since been lifted, so if you see them in the store, fair game to get them. But there you have it, guys. Marvel Legends, Deadpool, Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. Thanks for watching. Any questions, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe.